Hey everybody, Pastor Dan here. This video is part of our Meet the Council series where every week I am interviewing a different member of church council so that you all can get to know them. And I am very pleased to be joined today by our new assistant moderator, Thomas Gant. How are you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing great, Pastor. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited for our conversation. So to start us off, why don't you tell us a little bit about your faith journey?
My faith journey goes back to a kid. I was raised in a Christian household, Baptist. Mom made sure that I was in church. Unfortunately, if I could critique some of my past, I think as a kid, the church didn't necessarily, catch my full attention. Probably happens to a lot of youth, but I felt like things were talked over my head. And so kind of went wayward, ended up making some bad decisions, ended up in prison for 25 years. And during my incarceration is when I got a chance to get back closer on my spiritual walk. And that experience has, helped me tremendously in my life. I got a chance to understand more about our Christian faith, what God done for us through his son Jesus, and then built my own relationship and spiritual walk. And I was able to get ordained while I was incarcerated and have a steady relationship with God. And that has helped me tremendously over my incarceration and more importantly, where I'm in now. So it got much deeper while I was incarcerated.
That's amazing. It's powerful testimony. And I couldn't agree more around kind of needing to make the faith your own and stuff like that. I think that's a common experience for a lot of people. We grow up in church, maybe certain things connect, but you miss a lot. And then often it's later in life as an adult that you end up, coming back to faith, having an awakening. So that's really powerful.
Mhm.
What brought you to Brockport First Baptist? What brought you to our church?
Well, in all honesty, while I was incarcerated, my wife, we talked about having a church home for when I came home, and I was going to be released in September 2022. And so we had always made this thing because we built our relationship while we were incarcerated, making sure we were founded in God and had our relationship, our love, everything built in and on Him. And so our goal was when I got released, then we were going to try out some different churches and figure out what would be a great, church home for us now that we were both serious and passionate about church. And so she came across Brockport First Baptist. And so she said, "Hey, I think this is a great church. Their principles, their morals line up with what we believe in. They are loving, supportive of LGBTQ plus community, just the whole gambit." And so I said, well, I still want to wait till I get out because this sounds good on paper, but I still need to see how the church is, how the family is, and how they are, and how our family match. And so she had invited the great pastor there, Pastor Dan, invited you to come visit me. And I'll never forget after that visit, I said, we don't need to go no further. Wherever this man is pastoring, that's where I want to be. And funny story, I always tell everybody this, even when I'm giving sermons or sharing testimony, is that when I first came down to visit, you had actually came to visit, which by the way, that blew my mind because most people are, they shun prison or they don't really think about folks who are incarcerated. So the mere fact that you were willing to come, to a maximum security prison and visit me, that right there, it gave me a lot of hope and enthusiasm about the church. But then when I walked down on the visit, I walked to the table. I said, Carrie, where's the pastor at? I thought you said the pastor come. She said, you did. You don't already buy him. I turned around. There's this guy with tattoos and sleeves. I said, he looks like he should be in prison with us, So, but
Guilty. Definitely
our
guilty.
but our conversation, Pastor, your love, for the word, your understanding, and just the love for people and humanity, that was more than just impressive. And we have this thing where we kind of be led by our spirit because I had prayed before the visit that God would lead us and He'd get glory. And it was just after that visit, I said, babe, we don't need to look no further. Wherever this guy is at, I think our family needs to be involved. And that was very rare for us. And it was us just stepping out on faith. And I'll say this, that we made that decision before I came home, that this was going to be our church home. And then we just, followed up on it. And, from that day forward, when I first came home, and, I know you didn't ask this question, but just the amount of love, the open arms that we received, the comfortability. I felt like this was, church home.
Thank you for that, Thomas. And I second that. I agree. This it really is a great church. Brockport First Baptist is a wonderful community of folks, and we love having you and Carrie and the family part of our church family. So, now you are our new assistant moderator.
Yes,
Why
sir.
don't you tell us a little bit about what an assistant moderator is?
Well, the simplest way that I like to explain it is that I assist the moderator. So our moderator, I'll be assisting him, and that just entails, helping to run meetings, helping with church business, wherever I could be supportive to the rest of the council. That's what I'll do, help step in. And then whenever our moderator, Dick, isn't there, then I'll fulfill his roles and responsibilities. But for me, I look at it as a kind of like an internship. I'm studying up under Dick to learn more of the church process and the responsibilities of the council. And then in a couple years, I'll probably be moderator, God willing. But so just ultimately just helping with church business wherever I could be helpful and support our church.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. As a former theater kid myself, you're basically the understudy. You're working under the moderator, kind of learning the role, and then yeah, I look forward to someday having you as moderator, which means before too long you're going to be my boss. So that's something to look forward to. Looking ahead at the next year, what are some of your hopes for our church? Where would you like to see our church go and grow? What's sort of your hopes, your vision for Brockport First Baptist in this next year?
Our church is in a great position. I mean, it's a lot of excitement. I love the group of people that we are in, but my vision has always been, I just want us to get bigger and better. I just feel like if the rest of our community, society could see what we got going on at Brockport First Baptist, not only will our church grow, but our community be that much better. Whether it's, messages that I'm taking from our service and then sharing them out in the community. I feel like if more people could get a chance to hear this and see this and express this type of love and understanding for our Christian walk, the better this world would be. So I just want to see our church grow and also support. I just feel like the church role should be in the community. We shouldn't just be confined within our doors. And we're doing a great job at being community and engaging folks in the community. But I just want to continue to see us grow and spread our love to folks in our community more. So that's what I'm going to be helping to help bring forward.
Yes, amen to that. From your lips to God's ears. Well, I'm also excited for the next year, the year ahead. I'm excited to have you on board as part of council. It's a really great group of folks that we have, and everyone stay tuned to these videos because there will be more of these interviews coming up. You'll get to meet the rest of church council. Thomas, thank you once again for joining me in this video. Thanks to all of you for watching. We will see you at worship this Sunday at 10 a.m. Grace and peace.